Hello, friends, and happy Wednesday. I am here today to talk about PhD program stuff. Apparently with my Mothman mug and my coffee. Bless. Tastes like cryptid. I'm also going to have some artwork on the side, maybe this way. I think it's this way. Of a pangolin that I was working on in Procreate. I'm not quite finished with it yet. It's giving me a lot of trouble, and by a lot of trouble, I mean it's just taking a lot longer than I thought it would. So yeah, today I'm talking about PhD stuff. As some of you know, I am a fourth year PhD student. I'm working on my dissertation at the moment, and I am doing my PhD in English literature with a focus in 19th century American lit. I mostly study between 1830 to 1900. So that's where my focus is. I'm writing my dissertation on 19th century American women writers of the South that used a certain kind of way of arguing using sentimentality in order to advocate for their independence and their ability to self-regulate. So that's me. I started undergrad not really knowing what I wanted to do with my degree. I knew I wanted to focus in either creative writing or English, and those were separate departments at UNC Wilmington where I went to undergrad. So I've never written anything creatively in my life, but for some reason I put down that my intended major at UNCW was creative writing, which made no sense. So I met this awesome professor, Dr. Mark Boren, who taught like the best class of my first semester. It was like literature 290, literature of madness, and it was a study of insanity in literature, and it was super cool. And he taught it in such a way that it reminded me of all the ways that I really loved studying literature. I loved talking about the way that literature influences us and influences others, and he made literature fun and reminded me how fun literature can be to study and write about and explore through language. So I loved that class, and I loved my honors seminar I took that semester, which was focused in literature of exploration with Dr. Bill Atwill at UNCW. So those two professors were amazing, and they supported me all the way through my undergraduate endeavors, and they made studying English exciting. And I felt like being a professor was the best job in the entire world because you get to talk about literature and you get to meet students that also care about English and care about writing and care about the impact of speech and communication, all that good stuff. So I was super excited to continue studying English in higher education. So I finished out my undergraduate degree in English with honors. So I did an undergraduate honors thesis. I loved that research process. It was frustrating at times, but really, really fun. I studied the use of womb imagery in, I would say, pre-1900 American literature. Was super cool. Not just American literature, I suppose. I did Gothic literature as my focus. So it's been a while, y'all. Like, I've been in college for 10 years. I'm having to pull back many years ago somehow. I don't know how time has passed the way it's passed. So I studied Edgar Huntley, or Memoirs of a Sleepwalker. Memoirs of a Sleepwalker. Words. And I did Moby Dick, and I did Bram Stoker's Dracula. So that was super cool. I talked about womb imagery and the ways that male characters were put in wombs, and that was their site of fear and stuff. It was super fun. And then I applied for MA and PhD programs. I was accepted to the University of Georgia, which was super enticing. Great school, great program. But I eventually decided to go to UNC Greensboro to take up their master's and PhD program because they were offering the most funding. I have been told that you should really not pay for your grad school experience, essentially. Don't go into debt for your master's degree. And that was great advice. So I started at Greensboro, and that was a fun experience too. It was very stressful though, and I will say that when I started my master's, it was very much like when I started undergrad, insofar as even though the study was fun and a lot of good things were happening, it was really emotionally difficult. In undergrad, I cried all the time. I was overworking myself. I was overstudying in undergrad. I wasn't having any fun. I wasn't meeting new people. I was that person who had never shared a bedroom with someone. My brother, who is 10 years older than I am, grew up in a different household. So I've never shared a bedroom with anybody. And then all of a sudden I was like sharing a room with someone in Honor's house, which was like the Honor's dorm in, wow. You know, I don't own cats. Polly owns cats, and now I'm finding cat hair everywhere, and I'm just gonna embrace it for what it is. I'm now that person, covered in cat hair. Anyway, sorry about that. So I found it really hard to live with people and share space because I am at heart an introvert. I love being by myself. I'm a people person, but I love having my alone time. So that was difficult. And then I met some friends. I learned how to do the work-life balance thing, at least to a better extent than I was doing when I started undergrad. So when I got to grad school, I was now in a new city. I didn't know anybody. That was tough. And I was lonely. I was feeling overworked to a certain extent, I think because I was overworking myself and my expectations for myself were way too high. In undergrad, I made the mistake of expecting a 4.0 of myself. I only got 1 A- in undergrad, and I remember this because it was in an intro to, it wasn't an intro. It was an anthropology class. It was an upper level anthropology class that I was taking for a gen ed, and the professor measured an A as 94 to 100, and I got a 93 in the class. And so that was the only A- I got in undergrad, and I should have gotten more A-, to be honest, because I overworked myself, and my perfectionistic tendencies made undergrad more stressful than it should have been. So anyway, I did that again in grad school, not learning my lesson, and then it was time for PhD. Now, by that point, I had made friends in my program. That was fun. And I did my master's thesis, and that was great as well. That was a good experience. I was trying to get published. I was working in the writing center. I was taking classes. I was getting ready to put together my comps list, because if you don't know, you do comprehensive exams, at least in certain programs, where you are tested on your knowledge so that you can be considered someone with expertise in your field. So there's a lot to balance in a PhD program. And one of the, I think, problems with the PhD program is that you're almost encouraged to not have a life outside of your PhD. You're not encouraged to have jobs outside of the PhD or to expand your knowledge outside of academia, to find other skills that you can hone outside of academia. I majored in English in undergrad and I minored in studio art. So I was able to enjoy other pursuits outside of English and my major in undergrad. But I really regret not applying for part-time jobs, like in editing positions and technical writing positions and marketing positions, things that you can do outside academia with a specialization in English or a specialization in literature or communication or journalism or creative writing, whatever. So now that I'm at the end of my PhD program, I have been able to see what the job search looks like. And now that we're in COVID, the job market looks even worse than we all thought that it looked. We always knew, or we were always told in our program, that the job market looks bad and, you've got to work hard to be competitive. And to a certain extent, the job market can be a meritocracy, but a lot of the time it's luck. And a lot of the time, I think you need to look for jobs outside of academia until the right academic job comes along, if that's what you want to do. Another thing I want to mention is that it's okay to not want an academic job. You don't have to be a tenure-track professor. So I love teaching. I got to teach in my PhD program. I got to teach my own classes. I got to structure my own classes. I got to write my own syllabi, and it was amazing. My students are my favorite part of my job. And my least favorite parts of my PhD program were, the stresses of doing my comps exams. I think the toxicity of the work environment is one of my least favorite parts. To speak to that a little bit more, because we're all told to be competitive against one another, I think it's very hard to be friends with people in your department because you see them as competition. Now, if you can find friends that will raise you up in your program, hold on to those people. Appreciate them, foster that kind of community in your department, support one another, but be careful because people can be so incredibly mean in grad school. And just because some people are acting without the ethics that you were taught to have, that doesn't mean that you should follow them in their footsteps. There will be people that apply to academic conferences and they go to the conference on department funding and they don't even present and they just get drunk in the town that they were paid to go to, for example. There will be other people that talk to undergrads, students that are their students' age on Tinder and hit them up, and it's gross and an abuse of power. There will be professors that are doing scandalous things with their grad students and their undergrads. You don't have to be that, and you don't have to support that. So be the type of person that you want to see in grad school if you are looking forward to studying English at the grad level. I don't regret getting a PhD in English, pursuing a PhD in English. I regret not expanding my horizons a little more in terms of Working retail. I think working retail can be a great experience, and I haven't done that. I have only worked jobs in honors colleges or writing centers or in the English department itself. I wish that I had bartended. I wish that I've been a barista. I think working retail can offer so much to complement the skills that you are getting in grad school. So, should you get a PhD in English? It depends on your department. It depends on the school you're studying. But it also depends on what your goals are. If you want to be an expert in a certain area of literature and you want to be able to teach at the university level, wonderful, you can do that. If you just want to learn, that's amazing, do that. But I think you should always have many backup plans that you're equally excited about. And I think being kind to yourself and saying, hey, it's okay if I don't get an academic job. I can do the things that I want to do and find the things that I like about academia outside of academia itself. So if you want to be an expert and you want to enjoy grad school and learning and being in a community of like-minded, hopefully, individuals, then I'd say there's a lot to be gained in grad school. I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot about myself in this process, but there's a lot of people who are, I'm shifting a little bit because I've been, my feet are going numb. We've been talking for a little bit. There are a lot of people that go into debt. There are a lot of people that are overworked and don't take enough breaks to get a PhD. There's people that really sacrifice themselves for that degree. And I would say if getting a PhD means throwing yourself on the proverbial sword, reevaluate. PhDs aren't any better than people who didn't graduate from college or didn't graduate from high school. You're just as valuable and you can offer the same things to the world. Yeah, if you have any questions for me about the PhD program, other things that I can talk about more in detail in another video, because it is hard to talk about my experiences in academia in such a broad sweep. I talked about undergrad through PhD in this really general way. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them down below in the comments. And if you want to see more of this kind of content, art, academia, skincare, I'm not wearing any makeup today. I think things are getting better, which is nice. If you don't know, I have dermatomyositis, which is an autoimmune disease. I also struggle with skin picking, compulsive skin picking. And yeah. It's a good time. Just all the things. If you want to talk about all the things with me, like and subscribe. It helps the channel grow, and it helps you keep track of me, and it helps me get to know you guys. So comment below if you have any questions or suggestions, and I hope you all have a great rest of your week. Enjoy your Wednesday, and I love you. Finger hearts. All the finger hearts. Bye, friends.